collecting vinyls recently, and I got the chance to listen to Asia by Steely Dan. I highly recommend it. It is amazing, amazing record. It has nothing to do with today's video. I just really want to talk about how much I love Asia by Steely Dan. Howdy folks, welcome to a new episode of the Super Puggy Show. I decided to do a more simple Super Puggy Show episode. All I've been doing has been heaven and hell, and as much as I like to talk about anime, yeah. I'm sorry people, I'm making episode 4 right after I film this. That's why both of these videos are just gonna be me in serial killer lighting, wearing a white t-shirt, and just having very unkempt hair. I look like Jeffrey Dahmer. It's because I'm very limited and I've been wanting to make videos for a while, but I can't because I'm in the process of moving. But in the meantime, you're just gonna have to deal with this horrible setup. It's extremely temporary. I hate it so much, but I'm gonna have to get through it in order to make the video. But today I wanted to bring it back to simpler times when I talked about the GameCube and Christian. To be fair, that Christian video wasn't simple, but I just want to make a very simple video because originally this series was gonna be me talking about simple stuff, but then it became me drinking sparkling ice and talking about a bi-curious rapper. Now I want to bring it back to something that I really do care about and I really do want to talk about that isn't anime related, but is music related, and that would be Devo. Anyway, Devo. Who are Devo? No one knows who Devo is, let's be honest here. I wish more people did, but no one does, and I do not understand it. Because in my personal opinion, I think Devo is a lot more important, and we do not give them as much credit as they deserve. And I'm going to be talking about so many things that I love about them that just no one analyzes except me and other music listeners that aren't Anthony Fantano. So without further ado, let's talk about the reasons why I love Devo. Right off the bat, just how unique they are. For a band that came out of the 70s, they're probably a lot more unique than... For a band that came out in the 70s, they're a lot more unique than their contemporaries. Because when you really think about it, what were Devo going up against in the 70s? Not a lot, to be fair in their genre. Because they were a very niche genre. They started out as a punk band, but then they ended up being new wave. And the reason why is because, well, their music didn't really fit too much in the punk category, but it was just something a lot more and special. It's the same reason why Talking Heads became a new wave band. In fact, they even invented the new wave genre. It's because, well, while their music wasn't necessarily punk, it was lumped in that genre and they needed something else to, you know, call it. And that's how we got a lot of those different kinds of music that Devo was going up against. We got bands like Blondie or Duran Duran. Oh my, thank you. She actually got me the strawberry milk. But if you didn't want to listen to bands like The Cure or Joy Division, who were pretty much had a lot of depressing music during this time, which I also am a huge fan of, I can understand why that wouldn't be your motion. And if you just wanted something that was extremely unique, Devo was the band to go to. They were just so unique and just so captivating in their own way, not just in their style of music, but in their presence as well. And when you really think about it, I mean, Devo probably has done a lot for a band that came out of the 70s. And they came from very humble beginnings to sorta rock star stardom. I wouldn't really call them rock stars. I mean, you can call them that, but I would call them more as a band that just had a lot going for them, but not a big enough way to express it. Think about it. They started their home movies by themselves, or their home music videos, in this very like guerrilla style, very trashy, low quality way. But because of that, I think it gives it a lot more charm and it makes it a lot more whimsical. And that's probably the reason why Devo has become easily top 3 favorite bands of all time, just because of how humble their beginnings were and how much they grew from that. And of course, you can't just like a band without liking the music too. I mean, why else would you like a band? Now, I can't think of many bands that have released album on top of album on top of album that was just high quality. The thing about their music was that it wasn't just, you know, synth music with some drums and a bass line. It was a lot more than that. Of course, they had guitars and they had other instruments of the sort. They were experimental in their effects and just the kind of music they made.
What? Excuse me? I'm sorry. I'm just editing this. I have a cold right now, so that's why I sound like I'm dying. But what I was saying here was that how Devo was experimenting with different kinds of sounds and with their instruments and such like that was what made them unique. But I guess I just wasn't reiterating that correctly.
I'm gonna play two different songs from two different albums, and you'll see what I mean. But the thing to note about them is that the majority of their music is just synths. Yeah, of course they have guitars and other instruments like bass and drums and all that. A lot of their music is synth oriented, which is a really good thing with how they, express it. Because in a lot of new wave music, there's a lot of synths, and it's the same thing with synth pop. Usually, I'm not too much of the biggest fans with that kind of music. I'm a huge fan of new wave, but synth pop is not really my go-to. I mean, to be fair though, Gary Newman is fucking baller. But when it comes to Devo, I think with how they incorporate synths in their music is a lot more interesting than how I would think of it. Songs like Gates of Steel, Beautiful World, Jerking Back and Forth, That's Good, Snowball, all of these songs, to me at least, show how good they were with synths. I messed up my words there, I apologize. But to me, it just shows how well they were with that kind of music. And of course, they wouldn't just stop at synths either. They would also incorporate guitars. Songs like I Can't Get No Satisfaction and Jocko Homo and Come Back Johnny are songs that I think of when it comes to their guitar music. They're not the greatest guitarists ever, but they do the job just fine because of their punk roots and how they got their stardom. And how can we forget about one of the greatest 80s hits of all time, Whip It. Everything about the song, in my opinion, makes it a near perfect, if not perfect, 80s song. Just the catchy rhythm, the bass line, just the hook, the chorus. All of it is amazing, and people call it corny, but in my opinion, when it comes to synth music and pop music, I think it would be completely different if we didn't have the song with it. That's my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with me, but that's just how I feel. Speaking of Whip It, that leads me to a great transition to the music videos. Jesus Christ. I've seen music videos by Sparkle Horse, Pink Floyd, and Tyler the Creator. Insert other names here. And as weird as those bands and artists are when it comes to their music videos, I mean, Devo might make them run for their money because pretty much all of their music videos, it's pretty obvious that they're extremely cheap and they're extremely low budget. But I think because of that, it makes the music videos instantly better. I believe if you tried making the Love Without Anger music video with a high budget today, it would not resonate as much as it would than it did back then. Just because of how crappy and just stupid and silly it is, that's because it makes it way better. Like one of my favorite music videos of all time, if you can even call it a music video, it's more of a film. In the Beginning Was the End, The Truth About De-Evolution is easily just, oh my gosh, it's great. Just because of how guerrilla, how fucking low quality is, how weird and how just out there, it makes it great. Devo doesn't shy away from very controversial stuff, even when it comes to 1970s. From Asian stereotypes.
Have you got the papers that Chinaman gave you?
From sexual innuendos. Misogyny, stuff like that. And this, keep in mind, this was a band that came from the 70s and 80s, and the idea that they were so ahead of their time by making fun of having a satirical take on these ideas was just mind-blowing to me. Because if bands all the way back then were doing stuff that I wish I could be doing now, that is just... People look at them as stupid and they criticize them for just looking plain dumb. And yeah, admittedly, it is a little weird to see five guys with these flower pot hats on talking about whipping. But in my opinion, when you start looking deeper into their lyrics and their ideas, it makes a lot more sense. And I swear to God, if I hear one more person call this a flower pot, it's an energy dome, it's not a flower pot. This is a flower pot. This is an energy dome. They're two completely different things. But people want to call it flower pots because they don't want to look deeper into it. Back on topic. I mean, their lyrics are just raw. I've already said that. I must have said that word like 15 times. And there's songs that talk about politics, war, how stupid the idea of being a rock star is, just satire in general. The way their lyrics work, like a great prime example in my opinion is the song Beautiful World, because it's one of my favorites and it's pretty obvious why when you start reading the lyrics and watching the music video. The song is clearly ironic. It's not supposed to be a song that actually is talking about the beautiful world. Instead, it's the exact opposite in showing how sucky and how horrible our world is. With lyrics like "It's a beautiful world for you," that just shows how much they care about, you know, their politics and stuff like that. And there's a lot of stuff I do disagree with them on, but I will say this, a lot of their ideologies just stick with me. Especially the idea of de-evolution really sticks to me. I mean, in fact, it's in their name. Devo is short for de-evolution. The idea of it is that instead of evolving like we're supposed to, we're actually devolving and going backwards. You know, instead of getting more intelligent, getting more smarter, instead we're doing the exact opposite and actually getting more dumb and getting more unself-aware of what our actions are. The song Jocko Homo has to be one of my favorite songs of all time, and it literally is just about that. Us evolving backwards. And it's amazing. I think that's the end of my Devo-splaining. I highly recommend you check them out. Final thoughts, Mark Mothersbaugh is one of the greatest writers of all time. I wish Devo could be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm praying every single night that they do. They're on the ballot. Please vote for them and become a spud like me and the rest of us. I wish I could make more videos like this. I wish I could make more simple videos like even though I don't really like it, I wish I could make more simple videos like the first episode of the Super Puggy Show. You know what? I'm gonna recreate something. Hold on. All right, I got a guitar in hand, and I'm gonna be recreating the famous first scene. I legitimately have nightmares whenever I think about the first scene of the GameCube episode. But everyone, I'm gonna do it. No one asked for it, but you all wanted it.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer. Every night, I can feel my leg, my arm, my fingers. The body I've lost. The comrades I've lost. Won't stop hurting.
Anyway, thank you all for watching, and now I'm going to be making my lead out.